everybody. We'll get this show on the road here. We gotta be back out of the fire department by a certain time.
These are extra.
Tag up, chairs up, and all the things. So this is our 2025 annual meeting. If you guys didn't see the email, we didn't get a notice on. We put an email out in plenty of time, but we didn't get a notice on the board in time to hold it on the day that we had scheduled, and community member brought it to our attention, so you couldn't actually hold a meeting on that day, and this is the next day we could all break free. Anyway, so calling the meeting to order, and then we have to establish that we have a quorum. We have all three members of the board here, so we have a quorum. And then I talked about the notice of the meeting. We got this one right. We missed putting a sheet up on the board, and that's what made us cancel the last meeting. Even though we sent an email out, you actually have to get it all done right, or it's technically a non-meeting. First, we're gonna have Kyle go over the financial report, and what we'll do is, if you guys have questions throughout, kind of note them down in your head or jot them down, and then when we get to the very end, then we'll go over all the questions. That way we kind of get all this knocked out in case we answer some of the questions throughout, and it'll keep us to a minimal time. So, Mr. Treasurer?
That's me. All right, 2026 proposed budget is what I just passed out to you. I'll just kind of skim through it and stop for questions. So you'll see each column goes back for actual numbers for 4 years. It has the budget for this year, for 2026. So actually what happened, and then budget. You'll notice first, starting off, that in 25, we had inflow through association dues of $42,387. That's 597 times 71 lots. We also had other revenues, $600. That was when people sold their houses, and you saw Michael Ellings's picture, basically. So when you sell your house, you pay $150, and so that's what that came from.
So that's not technically true, that's the buyers pay for that, not the sellers.
Thank you. I stand corrected. When a transaction happens is when I see the check, so I did not know that. Going down, you'll see the biggest number here. You know, of the 42,000, 30,000 of it went to capital reserve. And that basically means it's in our checking account right now. So, you know, we're proud to say that as a board after many years of spending more than we probably brought in. We're actually putting some away now. Another line that we're, you know, pleased as a board to say are legal fees. Which is the third from the bottom. You'll go back to 22 and kind of look at the trend. We did budget this year 10 grand, just not knowing, you know, hopefully that continues as it was last year of $183. And if so, that'll go to the reserve account. You know, and so the next biggest item was insurance. Following that was ground maintenance, $4,100. Water, and then everything else is, you know, pretty small. So, any questions on the budget?
Perfect. Next on the docket, we're gonna have Frontier give us a proposal, I guess. Some information on if we wanted to get fiber optics ran into the community, so people, it would be available to people if they want it, but
Okay.
let the professional
Thank you.
speak on this matter.
I'm Craig. I'm at 112, next to Ms. Ross there, my brother, on Reflection. And I work for Frontier in our central office. I don't do the field work and any of that. A couple of years ago, and I kept seeing my bill go up, I started asking around who's in charge of figuring out where we go into neighborhoods. Because we need prices have just kept going on and up with our current provider. And so I found the guy who's in charge of the neighborhoods, and he said, well, we have to be asked to come into your neighborhood because you're a private community. I said, okay, we'll consider that we've asked. He said, no, you have to tell your HOA to reach out to us. So I got with Michael and gave him the information to reach to the people at our company about looking into coming in with our fiber optic service. If you lived in a neighborhood after the hurricanes last year, you know that our power was out for several days, and so was your internet. Even when our power came back on, your internet was still out for a while. The reason for that, our competitor, not gonna name names, it's not good, but our competitor uses a neighborhood node that has to have power, and it didn't have power, so you didn't have internet service. Our service with the fiber optic comes straight out of the office here downtown, and it has its own power supply. You get a dedicated fiber optic line to your house. As long as you have a generator and you can turn your router on, you have internet service. So if we were to be in a situation where we'd have a hurricane again, we had no power, but you have a generator, you can turn your router on and your service is gonna work. Because I make my own electricity downtown to make our service work. So that's the difference between our competitor service that we have in our neighborhood versus what we offer. Our service is underground. Like my competitor, they come in and they bore everything. They will dig a hole, and then they'll directional bore. They don't have to do trench digging to tear up everyone's yard. There will be a hole periodically, but they do directional boring. Everything's underground and hidden away. So it's not like they'll come in and set poles or anything like that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the service and that what we can offer as a company. Obviously, I have a vested interest. I've been there 28 years. I want to stay there a few more years. But it's a better product. Because again, power goes out. You know, most everybody has generators. You can turn your router on, you have internet service. And that's a very valuable thing. And when we were without it for 4 or 5 days last year, and the cell towers were extremely slow for service, it was a problem. So I started asking some questions. So if anybody wants to know more about how the service works, I'll be happy to share it.
Is there any cost to the neighborhood to get that put in?
Not at all. No cost whatsoever. They cover everything for putting the terminals in, installation when they come out and they put service to your house. All the equipment's provided. They come out and put everything in. Everything's buried. So.
And then the original service is just getting it set up so that if whoever wants to have that service, it's out, it's at
Right,
the front yard, and then they tap it in.
Right, you have a drop, just like you would have now with our competitor. You have a drop underground, comes up to your house. It's very similar type, setup, but it's good to have that competition there because you have a competitor, you have lower prices. I have internet only at my house, and we're paying $80 a month.
And
It's ridiculous.
Really won't affect anybody's lots per se, other than you're just running the lines under their driveways
That's it.
with a bore.
Everything goes underground. You don't even see it. They go out and locate, their sprinklers, whatever's in the ground, and the easement out in front where the utility easement is. They know where all that is. It's a great service, very reliable, much faster internet speeds. The slowest speed we offer is a 500 meg package, and they offer that at like $29 a month. So right out of the gate, it's a faster product and less than half of what I'm paying currently. So I'm ready for it.
Is the internet the only service?
They have, you can do telephone, obviously, they have a telephone product, if they want a landline, they have that. They are in talks. We were just recently reacquired by Verizon. So we're now Frontier, a Verizon company. And there is talk that they're going to offer television again. They stopped selling TV during COVID in the other areas, but they know a lot of people like to stream now, but they do offer a YouTube TV live platform, if somebody wants that for TV. So it's a comparable suite to what you have now with our competitor.
I guess there's just something that we
So,
put a poll out.
Yeah, so when Craig came up to me, I contacted Frontier and told them, nothing has been decided yet. They haven't gotten permission to come in yet. So we put a poll out to the neighborhood. The poll came back, I think there was somewhere between 38 to 40 votes out of the 88 emails that we sent it to, and 95% of it said, yes, we would like to have it in the neighborhood. So that does not mean that if Frontier comes in, that you have to switch to Frontier.
It gives you an option.
It gives you
a
an
choice.
option, but you do not have to switch if you don't want to. That's great.
The consumer, I feel like we should have a choice.
Yep.
You have a competitor there. You can actually tell our current provider, hey, I'm getting ready to switch, and sometimes they'll say, oh, please don't. So you can play them against each other. I'm just tired of prices going up on everything, and this was a way that, I said, hey, let's get a competitor in and bring some costs down somewhere. So,
No, I mean, just with the people that we have here, does that seem like a good idea? You guys
Fabulous.
thinking that, or what?
Yes.
I mean, that way you at least got an option.
And if you're a Verizon customer, they're offering fantastic deals for
Yeah,
it.
they're doing a partnership.
Uh-huh.
Each other's cell phone
Yeah,
provider.
go into the Verizon store, did you know? Did you know?
What about the, like, as you're boring through the yard, it hits a sprinkler or something like that?
Frontier covers everything. If something is damaged, they make it right. If they're doing anything as part of an installation, even on someone's house, we had in Tampa years ago when I worked over there, someone had forgotten to mention a water line. We were having service put in kind of a back building, and they forgot they had a water line, and a guy drilled through the water line. The company took care of that. They right if something goes wrong, so.
So this goes through, when they, was it a pole, whatever they put through, it goes through everybody's house? I mean, everybody's yard?
You have on the easement, on my side of the road where I am across the street from you there, that's our easement. It would go down one side of the road. And then when to bring service across the street, they will every so often put a bore under with a line underneath to serve the other side of the street. So it's all underground, but it's fed from just one side of the road.
Protect your sprinklers, you said, and
Yes,
all that.
yeah, they locate anything that's in that easement, right? Yeah. We're a big call before you dig. We pay a lot of money to participate and to have other companies, because we are all the time having a lot of construction people get into our stuff and make problems. So we pay a lot of money to that call before you dig 811 service. We're a big advocate for it, so we don't skip that step.
So, if it, let's say for instance, I say I don't want it, do they just skip over my house?
Well, you'd still have access to it if you wanted it. You could call in an order, and they would put a line across the street to your house. But they're not coming to hook everyone's house up as part of the installation. They just put a line in front of
Nobody would
you.
get hooked up originally unless you called them yourself and said.
And what I would ask
Because
if
now
anybody,
you have it available.
and to make it even easier, if you didn't want to go through an 800 number, you could also just contact me. And I have a group of people that they give us as employees that we get people to reach out to anyone that's interested. Instead of you having to make that phone call to an 800 number, you can tell it, hey, Craig, have somebody call me at 3:30 on a Tuesday. You got it. And they'll call you to talk about service. So we have a way to make things easy like this.
How long does it take you guys to build this home subdivision?
Good question.
Well, I'll tell you that in the city of Dundee, we've overlaid that entire city, just about, well, not the entire city, but Dundee asked us to come in and be a provider down there. We didn't have our service there. They've been working down there for about 2 to 3 months, and they've got most of the city and the outlying areas
Entire
covered.
city.
A neighborhood like ours, they could have done in probably a matter of a week. I can't say for certain. I don't handle the outside plant and everything that's in the neighborhoods, but I know in areas where they've gone into other neighborhoods where I've seen in my area over in Haines City, they go in and they're in and out in no time at all. They'll have a digging crew that'll actually go through. You've probably seen the guys along the side of the road. They dig a little hole and they get down in the hole. It's about 3 feet deep. And then they'll go 50 yards away and they'll dig another little hole, and then they have a machine that just goes and sews everything underground that way. But it's a pretty quick process.
What about sod? Like, some of us have different grass.
Yeah.
What do they do there?
That's a great question. I know they had a tool at one time. I haven't seen it in use recently, where they would actually, before they would take the hole, the tool would go in and it would just lift the sod over. They would dig their hole, do what they need to do, and then they basically would just fold it right back over. So I don't know if that's still in play or not, but I know if they mess it up, they fix it. Because obviously, they want to come in and be the provider of choice. They don't want to make anybody upset when they're coming in and put the plan in. So yeah.
Alright, well, I guess we'll put out another poll, and I mean, it seems like everybody that's in the room now seems like that's a pretty good idea to at least have
It's
availability.
not costing anything, so go ahead.
Yeah, not costing anything.
Well, 95% of the survey, I mean, that says, yeah, we want it.
Well, and they're not putting it on anybody's property
Yeah,
unless they're
we should
asking
do
for
that.
service.
Yeah, unless you're raising your hand.
It'll go down the utility easement, the
Yeah.
existing easement where the other providers, and we actually have our old copper cable that's in the ground where we served for DSL service years ago and phone service, that's all in the ground still out there. So we would just go in right next to that where it's currently at. So
What's the diameter for, you know?
it's not very big because our fiber, I mean, each strand is about the size, the thickness of a human hair. You put a little insulation around that. It's not very big.
So it's and it's in conduit?
Yep, they put everything in conduit. Like I said, we saw during the hurricanes that in the areas where people had generators, they just turned a generator on, plugged their router in, and away they went.
And then, so what do you need from the community to make that happen? Do you have to?
So
The
I've been
board
in
has to say
sign
yes.
something,
Yeah,
or-
so I've been in contact with Leon at Frontier, and he said, I told him that we were having a meeting to discuss, to see if it's something that we wanted, and it sounds like it's something that we'd be okay with. He's waiting for me to email him back to say, give us the drawings. He said that they do a drawing, they will put down a mark everywhere that they would need to dig, and then they send it to us, we approve the drawing, and then they come in and schedule a time to.
I mean, so is that, I mean.
Competition's
I say
a good thing.
email them. Do you guys think email them and have them do it, so we have that availability for service?
And anybody who's on with the technology, I think the most popular package they're selling now is like a 2 gig package, which just blows anything that my competitors offer right out of the water.
Would you guys give us the homeowner get a diagram of the layout, so we know exactly where you guys wanna get?
Probably we could email it, right?
So yeah, Leon was gonna email me that, I'm happy to send it out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Alright.
Anybody ever has any questions, I'm at 112, stop by.
That's a bad thing to say.
Is there anyone that's not here right now that might have a problem with this? Are we gonna have
I
a
mean, he
problem?
sent out, it was 95% of the
Okay.
people that came back and actually responded on the email, it was all yeses, and so.
Okay,
Does everybody have email? I know at the time I didn't have it, I never got anything. Does everybody have email that you send out messages to?
Yes. Yeah, everybody has, or everyone in the neighborhood, I've double checked to make sure that they are on the contact list and receiving.
We can put some kind of note on the front board and say that as of such and such a date, we're going to email, if there's any concerns about it, get with us. And if there's a hard no or something, or there's a group of people that, wanna block it and say no, we all have to kind of agree on that kind of stuff, that way.
I just don't wanna have any more legal fees. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. So,
They're not
we'll
going
just,
out
I mean,
on
that's
the
how
front.
we'll just put a note on
It's in
the
the
easement,
so.
on the front
Okay.
kiosk where the
Hopefully we're
mailboxes
good.
are, by, like within 2 weeks, if, we'll email if there's concerns or questions, just give one of us a call or something, and that way, if there's some hard no's, then we can figure it out, and then we might have to schedule another meeting or something, so. Okay, so we'll do that, we'll put a note and then ask for more input if it's against, I guess, if not, we'll move forward with that.
Thank you.
All right, perimeter fencing. It's terrible. We all know it. We wish that we could just completely demolish what we have and put new in, but we had a multitude of legal fees in the past couple of years that would have paid to get the fencing fixed. I think now by the numbers that Kyle has in there, there's quite a few people that have actually replaced their own, but there's also bad areas. I know Ray's got a bad area, but I think maybe we're to the point to go through and sectionally fix people's stuff, because we had no money prior to now, right? I mean, we just literally have been broke. We've just, for what, 4 years now roughly, I think, pretty much broke by the end of the year after legal fees. So I think the scenario there, and ideas are, everybody put ideas up, but is when you have bad situations that are like falling down or have to be fixed at this point, then we can get somebody out or whoever we're gonna go with and just start sectionally doing it until we get on a program to, I mean, the whole thing's gotta be replaced. It's, you know, trash. It's been there forever. But that's about all we can do at this point in time, is if anybody else has any other ideas on maybe sending an email and then we, as a community, kind of prioritize, you know, no fence would be a priority, you know? And I know I went, when all the hurricanes originally came through, I went and fixed, I don't even know how many panels myself, went through and just fixed a ton of them myself with all my own equipment and screws and wood and the whole 9 yards. But I think now we're to the point where we can select, which we had already had people come in and bid out the entire job, which we can't do that yet. But I think we can go back to those notes, get them to give us another number on, you know, every 8 foot or whatever you're gonna replace, what dollar amount are you gonna charge us, and make sure we get a good quote from a couple different ones again. Cause it has been a couple of years since we got those quotes, and we didn't have any money to do anything anyways. And then have them come in and, hey, we need 30 feet at the back of this property replaced. And just start doing it, you know, worst case scenario to, you know, I'll keep peace of mind together as long as I can until everybody gets good enough. But, I mean, if there is any other ideas, go ahead.
If y'all buy the material, I do the installation myself.
And see, that kind of stuff, like, insanely helps budgeting until we're, I mean, cause down the road, we have a road that has to happen also. So, yeah, that kind of stuff helps, I mean, a lot. So, in that scenario, you know, we can get with you and figure out, I mean, cause we can get Lowe's to deliver whatever we need and go through and do it like that. I mean, that's a scenario that we can do too. Cause that actually helps community money a lot. So, yes, ma'am.
The ones without a fence, do they have priority? Like
Yeah.
Gary Noel,
Yes.
he has no fence.
No fence now, right. Michael went over and removed it all, and, you know, it was half falling anyways, and, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we would go through and fix. Yes, ma'am?
What are you gonna replace it with?
That's my question too.
So Gary, just so you know, he has requested that he put hedges up on his back fence line. Again, we haven't told him yes, we haven't told him no, we're just saying we need to talk about it. He has shown me a diagram of fencing, or a hedge that he has used at some of his rental properties, and they look fantastic. So it would take some time for them to grow, so that nobody could get through them, but they look really, really good, and that's what he would like to do. So we need
That's
to
my
have
next.
discussion on,
Were you referencing
on
wood
that
or?
as
I
well.
didn't get an
That's
answer to my
maintenance.
question.
And
So yes, that's the next thing is if Gary were to leave the neighborhood, then does it become the HOA's responsibility to maintain that
Well, I wanna know when you
over
put
long
a fence
time?
in, what are you gonna put in? Also, if he wants a hedge, he can put it just inside his fence like I have.
correct, and that would be on,
I've got
anything
6
like
foot
that would be
but it's
on that
inside.
homeowner. It's not gonna be on the neighborhood to manicure and
But what is the homeowners association gonna put in as a fence? Is what I
Vinyl
wanna
or
know.
wood?
probably wood. The vinyl, after anybody sneezes, half that stuff blows away when you drive around after any kind of windstorm. That stuff, you see panels all over the place. So I would think anything that the association replaces would be what would be already there.
So when we got the quotes for the entire perimeter, the vinyl was about twice as much as what the wood would have been. So that's something to consider as well.
I mean, that stuff would be great, but, I mean, we've all seen it after hurricanes or even big windstorms. You try down and half of it's blown over, you know? So, not that it can't blow wood over also, but maybe I just notice it more because it's white. The wood is tan. But that, I would think, you know, and this is all up to all of us, you know, but I would think you just replace it with exactly what we had. The slatted wood fence, unless there's any other preference. And if, you know, like if there's situations like that and the homeowner wants to put their money in and like put a hedge instead, that's gonna create privacy, you know, that would be on, you know, we're not gonna maintain hedges for people.
No.
I mean,
I
that's
think he wants the fence because it is our responsibility.
Yeah, and then he can put a hedge on the inside for visible, you know, you look out the back when you see the nice ringer, you know, so, yeah. Yeah, that's,
We're getting all kinds of animals in our neighborhood. And I bet,
there was a coyote the other day, I hear.
okay, and there's no fence where Gary is.
Yes, yes.
There's, you know, how can you have a gated community and, no fence?
Well, believe me, we wish we would've just put in a whole new fence a couple of years ago, but we have been
I know, I had to
on
repair
the
it twice.
on the
Cost me
broke
over
side of
$1,000.
things.
And the Drakes have a panel down in their backyard too, and you can see right out to the dirt road. And they have a whole bunch of fencing delivered that's sitting in their backyard.
Yes. I know. Right beside me. So what is that, I mean, as far as like things like Gary's and Ray's, and we'll just maybe send out a email and people shoot an email back to, and then that way we can just prioritize, like zero fence is high priority. And then whatever, zero fence or mutilated fence or have not found fence, and then we'll just, as we can kind of keep affording it, just kind of keep doing that, because I don't foresee us in the next 3 years being able to pull the trigger on calling a company and saying, hey, come do the whole fence. Now, if we can get it up and running good enough so that you get the vast majority repaired, then you probably, it would be in the community's best interest to do sectional replacement, so that you are not stuck with all bad fencing, all, you know, like all at once, if you put it all in at once, it all goes bad at once, and that's what we have right now. And so if you, once you get it up and running good enough, you just start doing it sectionally. We're gonna do this 200-foot stretch within this budget. We're gonna do the next 200-foot stretch, and you just keep going around, and then you eventually have all new fence that remains all new fence, you know, and you just keep cycling a certain amount of feet within our budget, so. So we'll do that, ship out an email, and we can start working on that now, which, you know, that is an insanely great thing, because it's been horrible.
Down in our cul-de-sac, the road is starting to separate.
Say it one more time.
Down with, I live in the cul-de-sac, the road is starting to separate.
Yeah, that's,
So, what do you wanna do about that?
Yeah, so to just staying on the fence for a second, and you said the road, and that's another repair, so I'll get to that in a second too, but, if we were to do the whole fence, I think the quote was $110,000, and so right now we have $37,000, and the banks won't loan money, you know, based on no collateral anymore. I think at one time the HOA did get a loan. It's a different time now, you know, we don't have any collateral. So if we were to be perfect as an HOA and not spend 10 grand on legal fees, which is budgeted, so, you know, hopefully that's not the case, and we were to, this is a pretty tight budget, and put that 10 grand towards capital reserve, so that'd be 28,000. That would add to the 38,000 that we have now. We're looking 3 years out before we could afford a fence, and that'd make us broke again, zero. Now, how much does it cost to repair the road? Well, a lot more than the fence. So that's the financial situation. We gotta, I mean, we're starting to dig out and have, you know, but we have to be very picky on where we spend these capital expenditures for the next foreseeable future. I mean, I can't see that changing for the next 5 to 10 years.
Ray, if you see it become like a danger, I mean, other than bounce a check to somebody right now, there's no way to touch the road. I mean, we could do that, if we wanna bounce a check to somebody, that's all raise our hand, but make sure that's on
Is the
video.
asphalt just opening up, or is it depressing?
But if it's,
It's open, it's starting to separate up the top surface of it.
yeah.
How big of an area would you say?
Right around my circle area, you're probably talking about 10, 15 feet.
I mean, we
We
might be,
know that real well. I got kids on roller skates. I mean, you know, so we want it all fixed, trust
we
me.
might be able to blame it on Frontier.
I was gonna say it. I was gonna say it later.
But anyways, but if anybody sees something that's like gonna injure somebody, you know, other than that, we just can't afford it right now. I mean, but if it's an injury situation, like we have to afford it, even if some of us gotta get up there and dig it out with shovels and pack it back in with concrete, you know, whatever, you know, if it's a dangerous situation for anybody,
Well, I was
you can't
gonna
have
do that
that.
myself, but unfortunately I didn't do it because I didn't want the association to sue me.
We're trying,
That's understood.
we try, like,
Let's do it together and.
our job is to try to spend no legal money because we're such a small community.
But I only did it because the kids are all down on my end.
Oh, yeah.
And bicycles and everything, and they go up my driveway and down my driveway and right at the tip.
Oh, right at the driveway to asphalt is what's happening?
Can we do a patch?
That's how I do
Yeah.
They do those hot patches.
Yeah, you do that, go to Home Depot and get that little bag of stuff and do that.
Yeah.
So I won't.
We might have to do that if it's something that you think around somebody wants.
Ray, I'll come down and look and we'll figure it
No,
out.
you bring your son down there and do it, don't look.
He's real good.
He's always doing that front area, he did a good job doing that.
All right, so we're all good on all that so far. Community yard sale, they're good to have.
So yeah, yard sale is scheduled for March 14th that's 2 Saturdays from today, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Miss Angela has the yard sign, she's gonna put it out on the street the Sunday before, so it should be good to go. She's been super helpful with putting the sign up and taking it down, and we really appreciate her doing that for us.
Yeah, and then I think some other people had wanted to add one or two here and there, and anytime they call or whatever, we put it on the schedule and to open it up and.
As of right now, we have
Sell all our
we have
stuff.
2 a year right now, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
DCCRs. This has been one that has cost us insanity amount of money. We wouldn't have fence problems without DCCR issues.
What is that?
All of our community rules and what was legal, what was not legal, what was put in when, what wasn't put in when, who signed what. What has happened to this point is we have had people and lawyers, this side says one thing and this side can argue that same thing. And then this side says one thing and this side can argue that same thing. So who wins in those scenarios are the lawyers, not us. We spent $100,000 and we paid it to lawyers and we are on the exact same shape, period. Nothing changed except lawyers got richer. It's ridiculous. So from what we could tell, there was only one set of rules that everything was signed off on correctly, so that's what's in place now. We had people threatening lawsuit again, and it's the same thing, one side versus the other, doesn't matter, lawyers win. So we went through and took the rules and got them, the 95 rules, got them up to date with today's standards. Added
Can you
in.
stop just a second?
Yeah.
So when we did get like threatened with legal action, we actually, the three of us got on the phone with attorneys, and we didn't hire an attorney to represent the association. We got on the phone and did ourselves. And so that's how so we're bootstrapping it, and we're fighting for the community as a whole to not spend money and do what's right.
And we have spent an insanity amount of hours trying to figure all this stuff out without paying lawyers to do it. But then we had to jump that hurdle this last time. We had to go to mediation and people trying to get lawyers involved. So we took the documents that were the only legal ones that we could figure out that were legitimately legal. And then we had a lawyer bring them all up to date. And then we took everybody knows that Jim, had questions about all this. We took some of his concerns also that had to do with the DCCRs, and those are also added in there, and they are finally complete. And the only way from here on out, with talking to the lawyer, to stop one side saying, no, I think, well, this is what it is, and another side saying, oh, no, this is what it is. And the only people that win in those scenarios are those two lawyers, not those two people, not the community. So what we are going to do is bring forth these new documents that they have, but they're going to put it in vote form. And we are going to look for all of us to knock on neighbors' doors, everything, and try to get this passed with a 75%, just make this shut everything else down. That would be the new set, which is fair. It takes some of the things into consideration that people had concerns about. The phase 1, the phase 2, it does the combination of that, because there was also arguments about this set did it, this set didn't, this other set had 600 lots accounted to it, it didn't. Some people have to pay fees, some people don't. This set of documents were legal, everybody paid. I mean, there are arguments everywhere. This is the only way to fix it. And one of the main things that we put in there, just so everybody is aware, because I think it is ridiculous for any board to be able to spend so much money on a lawsuit if the community isn't behind it 100 or at least 75%. We put in there that no board going forward could spend more than $10,000 on legal fees unless they went back to the community and got a vote. Because if we all felt like, you know what, this scenario is insane and we're willing to spend 30 grand on it, then we can all say it together, not as a group of 3 saying, or a group of 7, how it was, whatever. All that stuff's in the past, and I want it all to be in the past, but I want everything to be tidied up so it's legal as far as whatever HOAs have to have in all our documentation. And so that there's been so many things in the neighborhood that so-and-so supposedly got a variance. So-and-so said they got a variance. So-and-so had something grandfathered in. There's unlimited amount. And we try to tidy everything up so that we can go from ground zero on a new fresh set of documents and start actually enforcing stuff so that you don't have selective enforcement, because right now, virtually you send somebody a letter about anything, everything's selective enforcement, because so many things have not been taken care of in all of the years. My personal opinion is this fixes all that, and then past getting this through the system, if we want to add anything we want to do, we can do, but we just, instead of putting forth a 50-page document, if we want housing colors, let's all get together, decide on it, and put it through a vote, and do it individually instead of a mass thing. So we're gonna have the lawyer do it. We're actually gonna spend legal fees on that, even though he hates for me to say that. I hate for me to say that, but we are done with spending money on lawyers, and we have tried. You guys don't know how hard and how many hours we've put in trying to make sure that we do not pay lawyers anything. But we've got to pay them some. We have to pay them some to get all this done. And my thinking is have them run that meeting. We'll hand out door to door because it saves on postage. There's a little bit of postage you got to do for some people that own but don't live. And we door to door hand it out. We come back, and either you guys are like, yep, I'm gonna come to the meeting and hand it in, or you fill it out and you give it to whoever comes. So we get 100% of us together as a community, go with something and then have the knowledge that later on we can alter anything we want. If we want everybody to have pink fences later, we can put it in later. But we gotta go with the ground zero basics, and it, like I've said a lot of times up here, is never since I've been in this community have I ever heard anybody say, I'm moving out of the community because such and such house looks bad. I've only ever heard, I'm moving out because of the board. And we don't want it to be like that. We want it to be, my feeling is we are this close to being able to borrow sugar from everybody. And that's what I think we need to be. We need to see the kids running around the streets, but not insanely, but pretty, as we would have at that age. And we need to get milk and eggs and sugar and just, have a community that we can all be proud of, and keep lawyers away from us at all costs, because they're expensive and they steal our money, period, in my thinking. So
can you give them a timeline of like what that is?
What we're going to do, because I don't want to, but I think in order to make it perfect, so that no side can say, oh, when you were counting the ballots, he ripped this open and saw it. And it's a private, we don't want that. We want a lawyer to come in. So they'll produce all of it for us. We will hand it out to everybody and probably have a sign-off sheet. You received yours, or you received yours, or we'll have a sign-off sheet saying we taped it to everybody, so we know everybody got it. And then whatever length of time they say that is the general length of time for people to have it, and then decide. And then we'll come around and, hey, are you gonna turn it in proxy to a board member, which it's all sealed back up anyways, or are you going to bring it yourself, or however you wanna do it. But the lawyer himself will dictate timelines, and then we won't be able to schedule that meeting unless, we kind of have got a schedule around him, cause he would probably come in on a Saturday and do it, and they would sit there and how you normally do a meeting and count everything and go from there.
The count be amongst the association people when you got through your accounting, or y'all just?
We'll have them count it, because we don't want to be a part of any, you're talking about the vote on there? Because they would count it right there on the spot, so there is no question.
I wanna hear about China making changes.
Oh yeah, me neither. No changes later, nothing. You just open it up, count it. But I think it's in our best, it shuts down all the bickering back. It shuts down all of it, period. It restarts it with us, the people that are here now. It's virtually all the stuff that was in there, not the last one, because that last one had some stuff that was to the point where a board could go have a meeting. Who was it that saw this? He passed away. What was his name? Terry. Terry had saw this in that last, but a board could have a meeting, 3 people could abstain and 2 people could pass anything they wanted to, and it is not, this is a fair, it'll be a situation when you guys see it that you want home ownership to go up. People with HOAs want the grass nice, people that generally keep their houses nice, no parking crazy out in the street, all the normal things are in there, just like they always have been, and that's what it's based on. Plus some things like the $10,000 rule, which chops the legs out of any board going further, further into the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, somebody gets angry at somebody, they cannot spend more than 10 grand without all of us saying, what, we agree with how that's a bad situation, we need to go forward with this lawsuit, and the community sign off on going forward. And then that's the most important thing that's in there, period. Yes, sir.
Do we have to have a certain percentage of the lot owners adopt these?
75%.
And where does that come from?
From the documents, it's what's in there. It's 75% is what's already in there, and that's the last legal step we have, and 75% jumps us over any hurdle. It is, that way it's written in stone, period.
So we'll get a copy of that before we.
Oh, yeah, well, you'll have the whole thing will come,
Package.
you'll get like a whole.
You'll get
voting
the
package.
DCCRs, which are the covenants, you'll get your voting ballot and a sealed or an envelope to seal it up. And then, so we'll give that to you, you'll review it, we'll come back, you would either give us the ballot or say, I'm coming to the meeting.
And turn it in.
turn it in there.
But we're gonna.
But you will have time to review everything.
Oh, yeah, look at it all. But and we get this through, it puts everything else to bed. There is no more issues, and then going forward, we can change anything we wanna change, period. I mean, but my recommendation is if you do change things, don't change 50 things at a time. You change, hey, guys, we wanna, I don't know, everybody have an American flag, or whatever we're gonna sign up. You change that, and then you would change something else.
So are you saying, when you say, when we change stuff, is there gonna be a vote from the homeowners?
It's
or
basically-
is it gonna be?
No,
you guys'
it's the
decision?
homeowners. No,
Okay,
but
because before it was just the board that was.
Oh,
doing
yeah,
the
no.
petition. So
It's
that's
gotta
done
be 75%
That's done on
of
anything.
all of us.
on anything.
But we went through and used the stuff that we had and then put in some, like, some things the lawyer said you have to have in order to be a legal HOA and all, stuff like that. And all the things we already had, and then Jim had, hit phase 1 and phase 2, in his mind, they didn't mesh. It takes care of all of it. And then we can go forward from that point, because it will shut these lawyers down. Nobody will be able to argue, this was like this was like this. It does away with it, period. There is no argument on either side what documentation, because right now, that's how it is. There's too much gray area, and gray area is where lawyers live. They feed you this, these guys feed you this, and everybody spends money, and the people in the middle go broke. We wanna do the exact opposite. We wanna set it up so they can't come in. And then after the fact, if we wanna reword something later, you just reword it, and just do, line,
But
article,
it does
such
have
and
to be a
such.
vote if we reword it after.
Yeah, we don't reword, like if we wanna redo something later, or add something later, or whatever, we just sit in here like this and add it. And then you put it in a vote, you get 75% of the
Well,
vote.
let me use an example, like you're using the flag.
Yeah.
American flag, okay, say somebody comes up and says, well, I want everybody to have an American flag, and you go, okay, well, we'll talk about it. So that's gonna be our vote.
So, yeah,
Before we
no,
put
it
it
will
in.
not be an individual,
Okay, see, that's where we got in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that's what caused the
Okay.
issues.
So you, basically, the board
Mhm.
is
Once we're
just,
talking to the lawyer,
they're
you know,
just the
through all this
governing body,
mediation
that's all
stuff.
it is.
When we say we really mean we.
Okay.
we.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, the power is back to where it should have been all along on the homeowner.
Oh, and it gives more power to the people, because
Well,
it
well,
takes
power to
the
the
power, it takes the power of that lawsuit stuff. You have to leave a certain amount in there, because if somebody was like 5 years behind on paying their dues, you have to have a certain amount in there. To be honest with you, I wanted to put $2,500 in, and the board had to come. But the lawyer said, that's a bad idea, because if all of a sudden you have multiple people that you have to go after to go get their money, you can't even go get their money unless you get the community to come in and say it, so.
Right, okay, I
So
understand
he
that.
said if you go with 10, you can handle all necessity type things, and you could even start a lawsuit and maybe be able to make your way through it enough. But if there's anything big that's gonna go $100 grand, it ain't happening unless we all say. When I say, I always feel like it's we all anyways, I just accidentally got put in the spot, I don't even wanna be here, so. And my wife doesn't want me to either, but I do the best I can, so. But, okay, that's good. Listen, and that's why he sits right here, because he's the one that he's supposed to go like this when I'm talking too much, so.
That being said, our goal is to get 100% vote participation, whether you vote yay or nay
Right.
to these, so that, again, we can all be on the same page.
All be on the same page, yeah. And it's all fair stuff, plus knocks the feet out of any future board on spending all of our money. That's that stuff. Okay, next thing, And I'll get with the lawyers, see his length of time, and we'll put out an email, roughly how long it takes them to get all the documentation together, and then we'll figure out with him when we could have that meeting. But it wouldn't even matter if you're there, because we would get all the proxy votes. It's just a matter of him being able to be there, count the votes that we get from everybody, so. Okay, next thing, anybody have anything else?
So just so that you're aware, we have about 30 minutes before we need to be out of here, so just so you know.
Keep saying that to me.
30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to ask, how long do we have to be out here?
He's gotta hit harder. Alright, yes, sorry. Ladies first.
Okay, what about the dues? I haven't heard anything about the dues.
We didn't,
I have the assessment notice here that I'll give you before you leave. I did want to raise the dues, the legal 10%, but because we were late in getting a notice on by the mailboxes, didn't want to have any legal problems, so they're the same as they were last year. They're going to be due April 30.
Are they gonna send us something in the mail?
We will send you, you'll get it, here, I'll take last year. Let's pass them out. 597 due April 30.
Tell us where to send it to.
Yes, ma'am.
and then you had a.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, I talked with Michael about a month ago or so, got a little security incident where a road rager followed one of my daughters into the neighborhood
Oh,
one night.
yeah.
And got out before, she didn't pull in our driveway, we live just a couple houses in. She drove past, and this guy whipped around her, jumped out of his car, screaming at her, you know.
Oh, my, you tell her to pull in my driveway. I'm generally always there.
I had a conversation with Michael about the cameras at the gate, that they're not operating, because I wanted to try to get footage for a license plate on whoever this was. An idea came to mind, because he told me about how they're not connected because of the internet situation up front. Could we look at some 5G off of our mobile to run the cameras, since I know we run a cell for the call box up there?
Talking about Frontier itself?
No, off of whoever our mobile provider is up there, run a 5G hotspot so you can make the cameras operational. Can that be something we look at?
So you sound fairly knowledgeable about this. Is it something you're willing to kind of,
I don't do anything with wireless.
okay?
I just know that, you know, I can flip on a hotspot, you know, on my phone if I'm somewhere, if I got a laptop or whatever. If we could run our camera system up front off of a 5G hotspot on the call box, then we have the cameras recording if there is a security incident.
I mean, it sounds like something that would be great. If you're willing to kind of, you know, do some research on it, bring it to us, we're certainly willing to listen. And
Do we have access to the system up front? I know Gary ran that for years. Do you have access to the system?
Is that for the whole subdivision to have that, or just one person, like it's been Gary and having?
Sorry.
We'd have to have somebody kind of be the security czar that would be able to look at footage if there is an incident where someone comes in and something's done. So you'd have to have somebody
No home
in
to
charge
have
of
any
it.
way to see it.
So I kind of misspoke. I don't have access to the cameras. I don't know anything about the cameras. I know that the AT&T card is in the gate box, and I've seen it, so I know that AT&T is part of it. So if we did reach out to AT&T, we would have to figure out how to get that connected to the camera system. And I don't know if we would have to update the cameras that are already there, but I'm happy to look into it.
Yeah, because I don't know how he ran that up front. I know you.
We're more than happy to put anybody on that project that would like to bring back some information.
We can do some learning. I can do some
So
Google
why is
watching.
Possibly at 5G.
So why are the cameras not working? I'm sorry.
Originally, it was at Gary's house, and then once.
So there was a line of sight from Gary's house, who was the old secretary, to the gate where he had his wireless box, and that's what it was running the feed off of. When Gary resigned, my understanding is that he took that line of sight down so that the cameras would no longer.
So you're just needing somebody to like possibly volunteer putting it on their phone bill to have the cameras up and working? Is that my understanding? How do we get this back up and running?
So I think that's what
That
Craig's
was kind of
question was as well.
That was
so-
kind of my question was, we've got to have somebody be able to monitor it. you know, we pay for the cell signal, that's the line item for the telephone on the budget for being able to have the call box. That's what
So,
I'll
so when
say.
somebody calls you and,
Yeah.
they put in the little code and then it rings to your phone,
Mhm.
that's all done through the AT&T cell service or whatever. So there may be a way.
Telephone bill on
That's right.
budget.
Yeah,
what's it
there may be a way for us to get something like that where it can connect to the cameras, if the cameras are wirelessly set up. If not, we may have to look into updating the cameras so that they are wirelessly set up so that we can have like a cloud service, cause that's how the gate system works.
I was never a
there's
fan of cameras watching me come and go in and out of the gate, but when my 20-year-old had a road rager come in for no reason whatsoever.
I think some of it too was it's hardline right now and not a wireless scenario, so there was an extra fee involved when we were broke. And now we're to the point where possibly we could, I mean, it would be a good idea.
And perhaps like,
We're not
there's
at-
technology's improved, you look at the
Right,
ring
so-
cameras and,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's maybe
Right.
a good solution.
And if somebody lives up by the gate and they wanna boost their wireless over there, we can just do it that way
Well,
too.
that's why I'm asking, cause I mean, if it's something that simple to put, I don't mind donating, you know, $20-30 a month to put towards that working. I mean, cause I have teenagers that come through, just like a lot of these people, not to mention, we have a lot more little kids that are out and about, and these Amazon drivers and people like to do more than 15 in the neighborhood, cause I've had to stop many times in front of Michael's house to stop people from speeding.
And I
So-
just wanna say this, I appreciate everyone being so careful around my house, cause my kids are, they are sometimes a little wild, but we try to teach them to not run into the street, but I really appreciate it, and your daughters are amazing.
Your
So-
kids are great compared to some of the kids.
I appreciate that.
But I mean, I'm interested in just like,
Yeah.
if it means cash wise, I mean, we're more than happy to donate $20 a month if that gets up and running.
Well,
At
let
this
me
point.
do some research on it, I'll work with Craig and we'll try to figure something out, and then we'll send an email out and let everybody know what we've got.
Yeah, because that would be a great thing, and I mean, it would be fantastic if we could figure out how it was an internet-based thing, so anybody could go in there at any point in time, not just one or two, or it's like,
Yeah.
here's your login to this, whatever, yeah, that would be the coolest thing, because that way all of us could go in there
Yeah.
and not be.
I'm paying for it, I wanna see it.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right, that's great.
That's right.
So, but yeah, that's fantastic.
So I was ready to find somebody that night.
Don't blame them.
And then we also, we didn't, you know, there's a vote that should have went down, but how it works with new board members coming in is if there is nobody that has stepped forward, then the existing board members have to stay put until somebody steps up and does it. We believe that there's a name that would be going in the hat because there's positions that are already up. And then, so we'll double verify that that's gonna happen, and then we could have a vote when we vote for the new rules and do all of it all together. And then that way, when the lawyer's here, he can do all the ballot counting, and there is no, you know, because there's specific ways you have to do that. You have to open this, are these proxies, are these not proxies? This person handed this in, there's sign off sheets, like it's a whole thing, and that way we get it 1,000% right. So we'll do that when we handle this other, and, you know, I think we're on the right track. I hope.
Sounds like
Yes, thank you.
Sounds like-
Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
your service.
Oh, do we have another question?
Yeah.
Do we? No.
So,
Oh, ladies
Sorry.
first, right, sorry.
so if we do decide, since you said something about wanting to raise the HOA dues, so if we're looking at that possibly for next year, if that's the case, couldn't that probably offset some of the costs for the outside perimeter fence?
If we raise it every year for the next 10 years, we still don't have enough money to put fences and redo the roads.
That's
So
not
that's,
right.
you know, even if we did, and so we're gonna have to be selective, but, I think, you know, in this meeting, we did say we should be selective in starting to kind of handle some of the fences that are totally down, or the fences that, you know, so we're gonna start to select where we spend money and try to be wise stewards
Because
of what we have.
honestly, it sounds like a lot more people are more concerned about the fences. I mean, I don't see visual potholes that are ruining people's cars. Or
Well, it's gonna be a $500,000 thing, you know, 20 years down the road,
Perfect.
and so.
No, the road. But
But
that's
so
how,
they're, you know, at 40,000 a year, that takes a lot of years, so, you know, I mean, there's gonna be some money being spent on the road at some point. I mean, it might not be this year, it might not be in 10 years, but, so we.
in all reality, what's gonna happen is eventually we get the fence so that we can get everybody's fixed and then get it scheduled, sections scheduled, so that it's built into the budget, and then the road will just have to, you know, piece it together as best we can, just like we've done the fence for the past 8 or 10 years. And then eventually, maybe we start sectioning out, you know, like this one main road that gets all the use goes first, and then maybe we get some off, you know, however we figure it out later. Or, you know, my time's actually up, so it probably won't be me figuring it out, but I don't mind talking, as you guys know.
Our concrete fence on the front, we're in charge of maintaining and painting and cleaning on that too, aren't we?
Correct. Yeah. So, and that, was that it for everybody? And then I actually tried to call the lawyer back yesterday, but they close at noon on Friday to try to start getting dates and time so I could have it, but they were closed by the time I called.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you guys gonna try to do something for our security and everything for Gary to put fence somehow?
Yes.
We said yes, yeah,
Okay,
that's,
just wanted to
yeah.
confirm that, thank you.
And Drake's.
And, okay, and Drake's. And
So all I gotta do is go ahead and tear my fence down completely, and then y'all go ahead and do me like here, right?
no, I heard, we got you on camera saying we gotta get you the material. Oh, and you gotta supply the labor, we got that.
One last thing before we go, if you have not signed in, it's super helpful for us to make sure everybody who's here is documented. So if you wanna just make sure that you signed in, or if you didn't, please sign in on the sign-in sheets.
Is that good with everybody? And does that sound good with everybody? I mean, not just as good, you know, like, is that, all that sound correct?
Better than the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna make it to ground zero, and once we hit ground zero, I think we're done with lawyers from there on out. Like, we're done, and then we just can handle it.
Appreciate you working on all of it.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It was not easy. I'm just gonna be honest, I spent a lot of hours on a lot of things. Go ahead.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
If I have a fence problem, and say for instance, I have my HOA fees due every year, can that be deducted out the fence repair as well? Instead of me paying, I can use that towards the fence?
If you got ideas on however we can do things, and just get with us as we go forward, and we'll see what we can figure out, because dues are for the fence, so we, you know, there's different scenarios that you can do, and I had actually asked the lawyer that kind of stuff, and the lawyer said that on fencing, it's kind of up to the board, different things, but you know, you gotta do it according to money. And up until literally this meeting, we kind of have had no money to do any of that kind of stuff, so yeah, whatever we got, or, you know, we gotta figure it out.
We wanna help you with your fence, right?
I wanna cut a check
We
for
wanna
it,
help
but,
you with your fence.
but it's gonna bounce to get everybody's new.
Well, let me have a check, at least I know I got the check, and I know it's bouncing, I know you trying to.
Basketball check. Okay, should we adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
second.
Second, why did you think I wasn't gonna second that?
Thank you everyone for coming.
Very good.
Thank you guys.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
that sounds good. I think. No problem. I think we should be golden actually.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.